Okay, so what I'm going to show you quickly is the knots that we use to join the wire to the leader and then the leader to the braid. We're using kinky wire here. The nice thing about that is that actually you can do this and it doesn't actually, it doesn't bend, it's got no memory. And we're going to put a swivel on there just by using a figure of 8 knot. Now this is 65 pound, which is the kind of stuff you'd be looking at using for kuta and that sort of thing. I've tied a figure of 8 knot, and you'll see I've got my finger in that loop, and I'm actually just pushing this up to manipulate it so that I've got a very small tag end at the top there. Once that's there, I put my finger in this loop again and I pull it down so that I can have my finger in the loop and I'm holding the actual knot in my finger there. I then take my pliers, grab the tag end and give it one nice quick pull, and you'll see that there's the uni knot or figure of 8 knot, and it's not going to get any tighter than that. That's it. I then hold the knot and slide it down to the swivel. Once that's on the swivel, I can grab the swivel, give it a pull, and that's pretty much as tight as it's going to get. Just snip off the tag end here. I like to leave a little piece there, not for the pain, but just so that I've got a bit of reassurance. If it does pull really hard, it's got a little bit of a tag end there. Then I ask myself how much wire I want, and if I was fishing for kuta with quite a big stick bait, it would probably be about that long. We'll stop.
It's you phoning me.
I can't help it, my love, it's in my pocket. Okay, so I'll stop phoning my wife now from my phone. You basically take the wire, you make a loop in it like that. You take your leader wire, or your leader line, and you put it in there. This all bright is a bit different to the one that I'm going to do later. It's very important that you remember you went in that way. I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to go around on this one probably about 3, maybe 4 turns. Let's try 4. So I've done 4 turns there, you've seen that. I then push this little loop up and I put the tag end through there, and then I pull on my main line here to get rid of the little loop that's there in my fingers, and then I pull on this, and this is where it helps to have a good set of teeth. And that's the smallest, neatest knot that you're going to get joining wire to monofilament. The one thing that I can tell you is that generally this is your weakest link, which is a good thing, because every time you break off, you don't lose your whole leader. You lose this. You can extend the length of your wire the next time you tie it. But that will be your weakest link, but it's still very strong. I then take some scissors and I cut off my tag end extremely close, and the tag end of the wire, again I leave that little pod that can give you a prick, and that's that. Then I know how long my rod is, and I know what sort of drop I'm going to need when I'm casting, so I measure this. I know that that's 1 meter, and on a 10-foot rod I use about 1.5 meters, so that's 1.5 meters for me. And again, I do the same loop as I did in the wire there. It's very important here to remember this part of the story. Imagine that this is a door. If I walk into the room through that door like that, I have to come out of the room through the same door, and that would be like that. That's very important to remember. I give myself probably about 300 mils there, hold it like that. There's the door that I've walked in, and I take this piece and I go around here generally about 10 times. It will vary depending on the thickness of the leader and the braid. Now you'll see there's a loop over there, and then there's this very neat part to the knot that I've got in my hand. Hold that there, take my tag end, I go back out the door the same way I came in, which confuses people sometimes, but that's how it is. That little loop I need to get rid of, so I pull on my main line, that loop's gone. Then I grab both of these, and still holding the knot, I start pulling that up towards the end of the loop, and you'll see what starts to happen. You see that? I pull it a little bit tighter, and then what I do is I take some UV knot sense, which is a glue that fly fishermen use. It sets off in the sun or under UV light. I just put a little bit on there, work it in with my fingers just to impregnate that whole knot and make sure that it gets in there. And then I grab this thing, and the big trick here is to pull this really, really tight. So once I've got these, I pull them really tight. And you'll see how small that knot has become. At this point, there's normally nobody to actually help you with this process, so I haven't cut off my leader. I can either sit on this to get a bit of tension on the line, or else in this case I'll just stand on it, and I can keep working with this tag end. What I'm going to do with the tag end now is I'm going to do a half hitch. I'm going to pull it down very carefully so that I don't burn my main line here. I'll do another half hitch, and then I'm actually going to do a locking knot, which is a half hitch plus 2 turns. And this is going to lock the tag end in place. So I slide that down, and as it gets a little bit closer, I just hold it in my fingers and pull it up nice and tight. This is where those very sharp scissors come into play, because I cut that tag end off extremely close, and make sure that I've got the right one when I go to cut the leader off, because there's nothing worse than, don't try and do this while you're watching rugby and having a beer before you go fishing. Okay, so you take this, spread those 2 legs of the line well away from each other like that, and then again very, very close, cut it off. You see the angle I'm cutting it at, so that there's no little piece sticking out there. Because when you cast and this hits the water, if there is a piece sticking out and your braid has absorbed a bit of water, it's heavy, it goes past like this, and as you pull up again, it hooks under that tag end. Just to make sure that it's definitely not going to hook under the tag end, I take some more of this knot sense and I put it on there. And then I make sure that I've covered all those little rough edges on the knot, and of course it's the only day that I can go fishing, so it's extremely overcast and probably raining, so the sun isn't going to set this off. So I actually get out my little UV light and I shine it on there, and that makes that go hard. Stop. Okay, here's my little UV light. As you can see, it's got this check to see if your money's real light, and you shine on there. And now I've got a very nice little streamlined, very small knot that you can hardly see, and that's my leader. Then this whole thing here, I can actually keep on my reel, like in this case here, this is a spinning reel. There's my trace, it's on there, there's the wire. I just thread this whole thing through the eyes, put a split ring on, and I'm in business. Everything is on there already. This is a spinning rig. Look at the size of that knot. It's really tiny. And there's the kinky wire, which is actually dead straight, and it goes around my reel and I can squash it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.